I think, I have never seen any market in the world where competition comes in and actually it destroys the market. Typically, competition only expands market, and competition actually creates more opportunity. And I think some of these brands that you mentioned, have been here now for 5 years plus, right? And if you really look at over the last 5 years, and most of these brands come with tremendous amount of expertise on the women's Western wear business, which is, yes, one of the biggest potentials to grow. And it's quite clear. If you look at the history of fashion in India, fashion has originated in India and the organized form. And this session, the IFF typically had landed up focusing on the menswear brands, and because we were typically had only menswear brands, none of us were really into the women's wear business. Women's wear business was, Western wear business did not exist when this, the first IFF happened. The ethnic wear business was an unorganized business meant for boutiques or the traditional retailers. But look at the journey that has happened thereafter. Clearly, the women's wear is becoming a very, very important space. Majority of the departmental stores today, women's wear is become the #1 fashion category, or at par with the menswear, depending on what the scale is. And big chunk of that has been driven by the private brand programs that these companies have been running themselves. And that's because there's not been enough brands. And then we have seen, of course, Indian brands also emerge. We've got success stories in terms of what And has been able to achieve, or the 109 and the Kazos, etc. So quite a lot of them have emerged. And a lot of them have built confidence to sell to consumers based on what the consumers have been. First they were traveling overseas, then you have more, when these brands open up in India, of course they expose themselves to many more customers. And those customers start relating to it. As she rightly mentioned, when I see somebody else wear something, that's what I wish to wear. So what these brands do is they open up opportunities. The opportunities of, if you look at how the last couple of years the business on dresses, has become. So if you in the Western wear space, when life started here, it was kind of denim and t-shirts. Then came denim and woven tops. Today is dresses, spaghettis, etc., etc. It just goes on, and it's just an amazing explosion which is happening. What these brands also do is the fact that you have to really work harder, right? It just can't be a 50% effort in business won't work. In fact, if you want to compete with them, there has to be even a larger effort. And there's a larger opportunity. And I think the bigger opportunity. So quite a lot of these global brands, not all of them adapt. It's difficult for their model to adapt, right? Whereas, do we believe the fact that our weather conditions, our color preferences, etc., they are not going to be just mapped by what is happening in Europe or what's happening in any other part of the world. I think India needs its own adaptation, and that's where the Indian brands has tremendous scope. So while they create the awareness, they open up the market. I think it's for us to look at as an industry to see what more we can do to explore this opportunity, multiply the opportunity, because clearly there will be a multiplying effect on the opportunity.
So the couple of things. Number one, what we are presently, so at present primarily exclusively focuses on designer wear and luxury wear, and targets NRIs. And as Rakesh also rightly mentioned, our occasion-specific wear, especially traditional wear, is becoming actually much more elaborate. The amount that people are spending for a particular occasion has become much higher. Of course, the percentage, as we heard, is shrinking in terms of units, but percentage spends are increasing significantly. And that's the trend that we saw globally. So there's a huge occasion wear-led demand across the globe for the entire Indian designer wear. And that's what exclusively has been working on till now. And exclusively was established in 2010 in New York. So the whole journey was around how do we cater to a latent demand in rest of the world where people do not have access to the best in fashion from India.
But this will remain for the rest of the world, or some of us Indians or all of us Indians will get an opportunity to buy from you?
Yeah, so we are expanding our business now. So we are expanding our business as we see potentially a very, very large people movement already online. And last 2 years, 3 years, we have been discussing on this forum how e-commerce has been a disruptor. So I think all that is now past, wherein fashion, or rather e-commerce 1.0 is kind of over. We have established significantly large catalog, significantly large number of consumers who have moved online, who are shopping. And now it is about how to get into finer nuances of buying fashion. Are you aiding technology, which is personalized? Are you making, shopping a seamless experience? Are you making it fun? Are you making it a stress buster? So I think these are the things that we are working on.
What came to the table was a couple of thoughts. First was to bring a high sense of aesthetics, a high fashion sensibility, and then sort of keeping in mind that if all this is made really affordable, magic could happen. So the sequence was very clear. First, it was a great experience, great product, and then price. And it wasn't the other way around. Our feeling was that most of the players in the Indian market were actually approaching it the other way. First price and then product. So Max has seen a 35 to 40% CAGR growth now for the last 5 years. And as you rightly said, it's about 1,800 crores turnover for this. Wow. That's what it'll end at in this financial year. So I think the one thing that in hindsight we seem to have got right is we just kept things very, very simple. We stayed tuned to what the consumer wanted. And we've actually seen the share of young people disproportionately high. Sorry. So huge many college students who actually, were aspiring. But finally magic happened because they could not only just aspire, but they could actually buy because it was really affordable.